Okay, so in this video we're just going to do a quick introduction to algebra. Now algebra, first of all, is probably the first chapter that students meet where they panic and they see letters and they don't know what's going on. They've heard horrible things about algebra and there's no more numbers anymore and why do we need it? This isn't real maths, and so on and so on and so on. But algebra is probably the most powerful of all strands of maths. Okay, now I'm going to start with a basic concept and I'm not even going to mention letters at the start. So all I want to do is try and solve this problem. So in this blue box we have a certain amount of money, and if you can tell me how much is in it, you win it. Job done. Okay, so if I write out this simple equation, what's the answer? Now we all know that there's €9 in the box. Easy, we all know it. But how do we solve it? How do we mathematically solve it? Because this is the start of algebra. This is the basics. So in the next part, we're going to work out the actual steps and how to work out this. Show your workings, as most teachers say. Okay, so as you can see on the right hand side, we have what I call the pyramid of importance. Okay, the important parts of all of it. Bird mass. We've done a video already. My other video will explain properly how to use it, but you need to use those steps the whole time. Just a quick run through if you haven't seen that video yet. If you're trying to simplify maths, you usually start at the top and work your way down. Brackets, indices and roots, divide and multiply, add and subtract, all on different levels. And the higher the level up on the pyramid, the higher the importance. Now, when you're trying to solve equations, you need to go the opposite direction. You need to go up the pyramid. Start at the bottom and work your way up. So here's a quick equation that we're going to use the opposite. It's going to go up the bird mass and solve the equation. Now, the black circle plus 3 equals 6. Simple enough. I'll shade it just so you know it's not 0. So black circle plus 3 equals 6. Now we know the answer is going to be 3. The circle is 3. But how do we work it out? Now, the first thing you need to do when you're doing maths is isolate. Okay, isolate. You need to try and get that circle on its own. If you can get that circle on its own, you're done. How do we get that circle on its own? We need to try and take this number away from the circle. It needs to come away from it altogether. And how you do that is by using the opposite. Okay, the opposite. So, what is the opposite of plus 3? We know the opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. So what's going to happen, I'll write it again. There's my circle, plus 3 equals 6. This red circle around the number 3 needs to go across the bridge, and it does the opposite. So when it crosses the bridge, we now have the circle left on its own, because the plus 3 is gone, equals 6 minus 3. That was a plus 3. It's crossed over the equals, which I call the bridge. It's crossed the bridge and it's done the opposite to what it was doing. It was plus 3, now it's become minus 3. And then simple out, black circle equals 3. There's our answer. Now, so another example. This time we're going to use a blue triangle. And I'm going to say blue triangle, take away 5 equals 11. Now, the same idea again. The first thing you need to do, isolate. So we need to isolate this triangle. Get it on its own. Now how do we do that? We take away the 5. Start at the bottom of bird mass. Is there an add or subtract? Yes, there is a subtract. So take that away from the left hand side. Now to take it away, you need to cross the bridge and do the opposite. What is the opposite of what is the opposite of minus 5? Plus 5. So I'll do the equation again. There's my triangle. Minus 5 equals 11. This minus 5, you have to carry the sign, crosses the bridge and does the opposite. So the next line, triangle equals 11 plus 5, triangle equals 16. Done. Now one last example. What if we have two black boxes plus 4 equals 16? This is going to be a lot more complicated than what we did in the last example, so there's a lot more thought goes into it. But it's just using the exact same concept from bird mass going up the pyramid when you're trying to solve. So the first step, start at the bottom. Is there addition or subtraction in this equation? Yes, this one. So this is what we need to solve first. Now that plus 4, what is the opposite of plus 4? The opposite of plus 4 is minus 4. So in the next line, we haven't touched the blue or the black box, so we carry on. Two black boxes equals 16. That minus 4 comes across to here. Now the next line, can we simplify this just to make it a bit easier? So 2 times the black box equals 12. So now, back to the pyramid. Is there addition subtraction? No. So we go up the next rung of the ladder. Is there division or multiplication? Yes. This 2 is multiplied by the box because there's 2 boxes. How do we get the box on its own? How do we isolate the box? You do it by using the opposite. What is the opposite of 2 multiplied by the box? The opposite of multiply is divide. So, to get rid of that 2, we just leave the box on its own, equals 12 divided by 2. And the last step then, you can see the answer. The black box equals 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Okay, so one final example. This time we're going to use 3 circles, take away 2 equals 10. But for a change, instead of using circles and shapes like I did a while ago, I'm going to actually introduce our first letter. X. Probably the most common letter that you'll see in algebra. Now, what's the difference? Absolutely nothing. Same concept the whole way through it. So how are we going to solve this equation? To find the value of x. Solve for x. So again, we need to isolate the x, and we do that by starting at the bottom of the pyramid. Is there addition or subtraction along this line? Yes, there is. So this minus 2 crosses the bridge and does the opposite. The opposite of minus 2 is plus 2. So the next line, 3x equals 10 plus 2. 3x, equals 12. Now we're almost there. We nearly have the x isolated. We just need to get rid of the 3. That 3 is multiplied by the x. What's the opposite of multiply? Divide. So in the next line, x equals 12. The 3 crosses the bridge and does the opposite. The opposite of multiply is divide. In the last line, x equals 4. Done. Now I'm going to put on a PDF worksheet at the bottom of this video, so you can click the link below. It'll be a PDF download. There will be approximately 20 questions that you can practice yourself. I will also put the answer and how to work it out. Similar steps to this. It does look long, but it's just practice. The better you get at this, the faster it will become. You'll be able to do this in 2 lines. Okay, so you can download the worksheet. You can also download the solutions, and that will show you how to work out the answers.